sharing this so far with you. And thanks, Kansa, for bringing all the stakeholders together on a very important topic of how do we make agriculture more sustainable? How do we make agriculture more profitable? The few of the parameters are already given, that the population is rising, will continue to rise. We need to double our production by 2100, simple. So that's Dr. Ashok Dalway was very candid in putting it out. We are stuck with the productivity levels right now, despite the fact that the input efficiency levels are falling, if not static. The nitrogen use efficiency continues to be sitting at something like 27, 28% urea case. Similarly, use efficiency of pesticides and use efficiency of all nutrients continues to struggle. Phosphate, the more phosphate we put in the ground, it's more and more of it is getting stuck. We need to mobilize nutrients. We need to, soil is degrading very, very fast. We need to ensure that soil comes back to become a living ecosystem rather than becoming a artificial, if I may call it a experimental pot. So with this background, I think biologicals play a very important role because they not only balance out the existing situation, but they also create opportunities for future. Now in this, I think India as a country, so I would not talk global, sir, because I think right now we should be more concerned with local. What we need to clearly do here is, we need to have an ecosystem for promoting this biological interventions to partner with other interventions. So I would not say biological versus the rest. Biologicals to partner, because that's the way forward. You know, Sri Lanka has taught us one thing, that if you have only one line in which you go, you can collapse the whole society. The country itself can go to dogs. So you can't afford to do what Sri Lanka did. Now, in this context, I think what is very crucial is the role of partnership between the government, the regulators, and the industry, apart from farmers. The government needs to set a very clear-cut. So the role of government actually in this whole thing should become a platform rather than becoming an impediment or rather than becoming an accelerator. I mean, if they are a platform itself, it is good enough. The role of regulator clearly needs to be redefined. So they, instead of becoming regulators or a brake, they should become facilitators for this change. I'll take an example, sir. We talk about introducing newer technology. I mean, I was very intrigued with the previous session where FAO report called upon developing innovative solutions and creating access to them. Now, here is the case in India, where if I take microbial formulations, we do not even have a guidelines on how to introduce that. There's a committee set up under 433rd RC, but I don't know what the committee has come out with the recommendations or if there are any guidelines set up. We need to have very clear-cut guidelines for those because the technology outside of India has really, in the biological space, has really gone multiple fold and many, many miles ahead of what we are doing in India. We are still stuck up with what we had been doing in the 1970s. I don't see we moving much forward. What gives me hope is some of the stalls outside where they are really moving in that direction. But what we need to do now, sir, is clearly the regulation needs to move either hand in hand or ahead of commercialization. Because what is happening is in the biologicals, like microbials, I give you an example. A product is used, manufactured in one area, but it's made available to farmers all across the world. It's not happening right now in India. So if we can bring in those higher technology imports initially, they will promote a larger ecosystem of R&D. they will promote a larger ecosystem of uh, developing the production base in India. To say that you first set up a production base in India, after that only you get a permission to import, that's unfair and that's illogical. So it will never happen. And that is the reason why we do not see advanced biologicals in the country. So if that can come up, I think that will be very important. Similarly, some important things like setting up the shelf lives. I think we need to clearly look at a longer shelf life of these products. So if technology needs to be brought in that stabilizes the products, so be it. Similarly, biostimulants, I think there are a lot of struggles still happening around regulating biostimulants. I hope it settles down fast. Clarity. So, as FMC, sir, I'll just take 30 seconds more. Yeah. We just acquired the largest pheromone company globally called Biofera. Pheromones are going to play a major role, but the application of pheromones will not be like what is happening today in India. We are going to come out with sprayable pheromones. So today, can we now look at developing guidelines for introducing sprayable pheromones in the country? So those are some, because the technology is moving way ahead now. So my request, sir, would be if we can have partnership between the government, regulator, and the industry to develop, to first understand what all is happening on the technology front and develop very quickly ecosystem that facilitates introduction of such products in the country and availability of such products to the farmers, because the farmers otherwise will continue to get what they are getting. You know, they get all those black polythene bags. Within what goes within that? No, nobody knows. The government purchases, government distributes. How much it purchases, how much it distributes. God bless. So just a small request. That's all.
Thank you so much.